Hey, good evening, guys.
What's up, fellas?
Good evening.
What's up, James? How you doing? You're here early.
Oh yeah, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning his time, yeah. Up in the UK, right? James
I
Smith
believe so.
from the UK. Welcome to the show. How y'all doing tonight, man?
Well,
Doing
me,
good.
I'm tired. I'm always
Good?
tired at this hour. No, I'm good too. I'm good.
Good.
How are you, Ting?
I'm good. I'm always need to like when Mr. P said, "Okay, let's do it at 9:45." I say, "It's okay. Let's check with Eric."
Yeah, it started to push my bedtime.
It's okay. It's gonna be hopefully
Hey,
a good.
Ting, when you're in Thailand, how often do you eat Swensons?
How often I what?
Eat Swensons.
Oh, barely, man.
Really?
It's ice cream, right?
Yeah, it's ice cream.
If my kids are here, then maybe, but them not being around, there's no reason for me to stop by Swenson. Like, yeah, no. Why? You
But
like it?
It's delicious, man. You get the sundae with the Maltesers on there, or some other cookies, and that's pretty
Yeah, I
good.
get you. Yeah. If you're really into the ice cream, then it's a good place to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
ice cream's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's better than Mishue. They also have that in Thailand now. Mishue.
Oh yeah. They
Mishue.
expand to Thailand. Yeah, they do have that too.
I had that for the first time the other day. It was the 2 RMB ice cream cone. Oh, it's horrible.
But since there are a lot of Chinese tourists here, so they actually get to try the same thing they had in China, right? So it feel like kind of
It feels like home. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like home, I think.
Chinese people never want to be too far away from China.
Yeah, and no need to speak English at all for wherever they go on tour. All right, so I hope that everyone who joined the show tonight can hear us okay. Mr. P, you can say something to just make sure that the sound checks are all right.
What's up, guys?
Sounds good.
Sound good?
To
Sounds
me,
great.
it sounds good. Yep.
All right.
Eric's as well. Cool. So maybe not to waste any more time, Eric. The usual intro. You did the best.
Sure. Welcome back, everybody, to Blue Sky Coming Unofficial NIO podcast. We're here on YouTube live once a week, generally speaking, and also hopefully wherever you get your podcast. But sometimes I fail, but working on it. Okay, we have a really big week. We have the earnings results, and should we just jump into that, or do we have any news and things to talk about before that? Anybody got anything?
Mr. P might have some rumors or anything.
Let's talk about deliveries first. I mean, we got 20,544 deliveries for last month, May.
So Ting wins the bet,
guys.
Yeah.
So remember last week what we did? I did choose the 22K. Eric, how much
24. I said 24.
And the most generous one, Mr. P, 25, right?
25. Yeah.
We were all optimistic. We're all optimistic people.
And yet my number is still too generous, man. 22K. Anyway.
But they did get the all-time record, right? Is that right, Mr. P?
Yep, that's still a new all-time record, even though it's only by a little bit.
Hey, a little bit's better than nothing.
Yeah, pretty good.
So I gotta say, I was just gonna say that the sales guy that I talked to in the NIO house in Shenzhen, he said, yeah, 25 is not happening, but he said 20 for sure. So he was right on the spot.
Yeah. So what wasn't good? All right. What wasn't good is, of course, earnings that came out. That kind of surprised everybody. So I'll just quickly go over it. So in Q1, they delivered 30,053 vehicles. Vehicle sales was $1.16 billion US. Vehicle margin was 9.2% compared to 5.1% in the first quarter of 2023. Total revenues US 1.37 billion. Net loss was 718.1 million. So they lost a lot of money. And they have 6.3 billion US in cash on hand, cash and cash equivalents as of March 31st, 2024. And yeah, so one of the interesting things from the earnings call, like I guess the most important thing, is the fact that apparently willingly said that the number of orders surpassed their production capability. So that means they are bottlenecked by production and delivery. So that's the bottleneck. That's the reason why we have lots of orders, but we can't fulfill it, which is kind of a bummer. So he said that was a problem. And I think it also has to do with the number of delivery centers they have. They only have 64 delivery centers throughout the world, all right, including Europe. 64 total delivery centers. That is obviously not enough to satisfy the number of orders that they're currently getting in right now. And going forward, all right, they're making adjustments to boost margin. And for example, they're going to renegotiate with suppliers. They're going to try to shift the product mix to higher margin vehicles. So mostly the 7s and above and 8, that kind of stuff. So they're going to try to get margins back to double digit. UAE expansion has been pushed back to later this year. It was supposed to come in June. And overall, right now, the BAAS policy, the adjusted BAAS policy with lower rental fees, isn't really affecting them. All right. They said that this promo is only granted for all NIO owners, for the NIO owners that buy it for 5 years. So the total cost for NIO comes down to 6,000 RMB per car. So it's actually, very nice. It's not costing NIO a lot, but it sounds very nice. It sounds much better than just getting, 6,000 RMB off. So this is definitely one of the reasons that they're able to continue doing the pay 4 months, get 1 month free situation. And also part of that is because they're also prolonging the lifespan of the battery. They've done a lot of good R&D work to be able to see this return of investment prolonged over a longer period of time. So they're able to make the monthly payments less. So that of course benefits the car buyers as well. Okay. And also another very big takeaway is the Wuhan government invested about $200 million into NIO Power, and they own basically 10% stake. For $200 million, they get 10%. That means that NIO Power is probably worth $2 billion. All right. With that calculation, if you're buying 10% for 200 million, then overall NIO Power is worth 2 billion in NIO's eyes and in the Chinese government's eyes. Also on top of that, just some quick other updates. NIO got first place in terms of quality ranking for the ES8 and ET5 and ET5T, JD Power annual quality ranking. So that's also pretty nice. Definitely going to help boost sales as well. And in terms of the R&D expenses going forward, from the earnings report, they said that they're going to be pretty much, they'll have the same R&D expenses compared to 2023. So we're not really going to see a big drop on that front. So they're still spending a lot on R&D. Last quarter, in the first quarter of 2024, they spent 396.7 million on R&D. So quite a lot of money being spent on research and development. It's paying off, but of course, that also means that on the earnings report, it shows up as a loss, which doesn't look that good. But NIO is very proud of their R&D expenses and actively talks about and actively tells everybody how much they're spending on R&D to invest in themselves for better technology. So I guess this is a good thing.
Great. Thank you, Mr. P. You mentioned, I think, in there, basically their factories like maxed out. Their bottleneck is their output, right? They can't build more. So they're going to, I know they did talk about going to a second shift as well. I know I see James in the comments talking about that as well. Any idea about like how soon they can really up the production? I doubt they're going to be able to move to a full double shift like immediately. They need to hire staff and train and everything, right?
Yeah, in the conference call, they said they will do double shifts for certain aspects for the factory. But if you look at the factory, like a lot of the stuff is automated. Okay, so there are some parts that are requires manual labor, but most of the stuff is automated. So yeah, they're doing double shift. I think the bottleneck are the delivery centers, because if you've seen some videos of those, I mean, the cars are even parked outside on the street. It's so packed that the battery swap station at the delivery center has to be shut down so that there's no like extra traffic going in. It's so packed that like people can't even walk through. It's pretty clear to me that the delivery center is one of the bottlenecks. They got to figure a way to really alleviate this bottleneck. They only have 62 delivery centers throughout the world, which is not enough. Not enough, in my opinion. All right.
I know I did have some homework for you guys this week. I said I was going to talk to NIO and try to ask them what their current factory output is. They wouldn't give me any hard numbers. I did talk to them about a few things though, but I probably am not at liberty to necessarily share tonight. But I think we pretty much got the output. Basically, what they said is they delivered all they could produce, right? So at least for the last month. Maybe next month they're gonna start being able to increase more with the double shift.
Yeah, and one thing I was quite, I guess, disappointed with was the the amount of tight-lippedness they have for Onvo pre-orders. They're not talking about it at all. Usually other auto companies would proudly share about how many pre-orders they have. So they would not say anything about pre-order numbers. Even like there were some questions later on, people were asking about this, but he would not say it, which is just absolutely unfortunate. I mean, other companies do it, but NIO doesn't. Even back when the ET5 was launched, they sort of talked about the pre-order numbers, 200K pre-orders, but I guess pre-orders don't really represent how many cars that will ultimately get delivered. So I guess that's why they're not really talking about it.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll come out with hard numbers once they have, pre-order numbers locked in that are non-refundable. I'm sure they will announce that from the rooftops if they're good. If they're not good, then it's going to continue to be obfuscated, I would guess. But I think they're probably pretty good.
Hey, do you know that can the customer opt in for the home delivery or something like that? Like, why am I? Like, I drop the car at home. Yeah, I saw Li Auto send a brand new car with the, those like pre-sealed factory bumpers and all of this around the car inside my compound before. So the customer, I did check, right? I did check with him at that time. He said that, yeah, we can actually deliver to customers' home if they want to. Like,
Yeah,
but
that would be a good suggestion for NIO.
I saw a video at Oliver, right? Oliver from inside one of those China EV channels. He did the video about the NIO town, and I think there were deliveries of the NIOs to those people's homes, because I don't think there was even a power swap station at the time, and there wasn't the delivery center for sure back then.
Sensors and everything nearby. Yeah.
So I'm sure and depends on your location. I bet they would probably still do that. But if you're like in Shanghai, I would assume they send you to the delivery center.
Yeah.
And since it's considered sort of luxury, right? So maybe the customer would want to be like treated in the delivery center, take a photo, getting a proper brief on their vehicle, check their vehicle before they sign it off, So maybe that's a delivery center is still like sort of a preferred choice for them.
I think it's definitely a more premium feeling, probably. Yeah. I mean, it depends on who they send to your house and what kind of service they provide. But you get it, you go to the delivery center, they give you the coffee, they put all the stuff in the trunk. They teach you about the car.
They could still do that remotely at the customer's home.
They could.
Yeah. But it's gotta be more cost too. Like they need to like for one customer, they need to like have a sale guy be there, guiding them just for one, right? Unless
there's also all the paperwork you do. Like when I picked up my car, I had to sign a bunch of paperwork and stuff, right? Like, so they have the little finance office, they have the different staff. Like Shanghai, they can deliver like 300 cars each. Like I forget how many. When I did the tour of that delivery center there in Shanghai, they have like something like 300 cars they can deliver in the morning and then 300 in the night, something like that. So like, obviously they'd rather have you go there where they can have staff that can can deal with that instead of having 600 people delivering cars out, individually.
And that's a lot, huh? 300 half day.
It was something like that. Yeah. It was an insane size.
If it's like
But
a
you
9
can have,
to 12,
you
it's
can have
like
multiple people delivering cars instead of one person, one car, if you're doing home
and a
delivery.
group and a bunch of seats for them to sit and discuss through the finance paper and all of this.
Yeah, sell them a coffee.
Then they would have more delivery center, indeed, if the volume is actually high. Yeah.
And the other thing in the call or the earnings report, Mr. P, I don't know if you can confirm this. Did they say F3 is not going to be in Hoi An? It's going to be actually at NIO Park?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, I thought I heard something like that, because I remember they had bought a facility from some other defunct manufacturer somewhere up in Anhui, somewhere else for F3.
Yeah. I heard about that as well. Quite a few years back, I think.
Yeah, I think yesterday they said their F3 is going to be at NIO Park, but I'm not positive, so we have to double check that. Probably James knows.
Yeah.
He's looking at their filings. Was there any other news from the earnings report or the call, Mr. P?
Not that much, to be honest. They were quite tight-lipped about everything. Not really spilling any beans.
What about forward-looking financials? They're going to lose another $1 billion in the next 6 months, 3 months? What's going on there?
They only guided for revenue, but they did not say how much they're going to earn or path to profitability, unfortunately. But they did say that they're expecting 54,000 to 56,000 units in Q2, which means that this month, right, in June, they're expecting deliveries of about 18,000 to 20,000 vehicles. Okay, and then they expect total revenue to be around 2.297 billion to 2.373 billion in Q2. So that would also be a very, very good revenue increase year over year, 95.3% year over year. But we'll have to see.
So do you guys think that they're going to be able to hit that 16 to 18? What you said, 16 to 18,000 or 18 to 20,000 for the sales?
18 to 20,000.
18 to 20. You think they're going to be able to hit that top end? Maybe another new record?
Definitely, in my opinion, definitely, because they got. Remember, they're bottlenecked by the production, the deliveries.
Delivery. Yeah.
So if they keep on delivering about 6,000 a week, then that's no problem. And they delivered 6,700 last week. So that's perfectly fine.
And we remember last month they had like 25,000 or something pre-orders, right? Ding dong.
Yeah.
Approximately. So we know they're behind a little bit there. And I'm sure they've done really well at the Shenzhen Auto Show as well. I don't know if you guys saw my video where I kind of walked around the auto show. The NIO booth was by far the most crowded. Anybody can go check that out. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. There was them and probably Zeekr and BYD definitely had the most crowded booths. The NIO booth was just like, especially around the power swap station, just insane. The NIO house, they wouldn't let me in the first time as a non-NIO owner. Usually they say, go ahead, go up there. But it was crowded and they were like, no, you can't go in. You got to be a NIO owner. So it was looking pretty good. I don't know. Did you guys check out that video at all that I posted, Mr. P or
I
Tim?
did.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I did,
So did you notice anything I missed? What's that thing?
No, I'm just saying that for Eric, he was the previous owner. Like you own a car before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when the car is no longer yours, then that icon is gone. You mean
Yeah, I don't have the little V.
The little
verified check mark.
Verify owner something.
Maybe NIO can copy Twitter, right? And they can sell verified check marks. So you can go up to the NIO house.
Pre-owner, yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy busy, and like I was telling Ting before we started, it was super duper hot there. It's so humid in Guangdong right now. I was like just drenched in sweat. I was like, I got to get out of here, man. It was brutal. So I tried to make a beeline through the whole venue and get out as fast as I could.
They didn't boost the AC. I think they need to boost to the AC max. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was that new convention center. It's so big. Like, I think that there's like either 8 or 10 halls there, and 7 were open for the auto show. But there's just so much bigger than the one in Futian district. It's the brand new one out by the airport. And it was like the sky, like the sky, the ceiling is so high, right? So like to pump in all that air, the air conditioning is going to be crazy. Just massive venue. It was hot as hell and rainy and sweaty, but man, it was fun. A lot of good stuff. Other thing I should say about the Shenzhen Auto Show is like, because it's not like the premier auto show, like every year they rotate like Shanghai and Beijing, right? Like there wasn't any kind of new premier products. So everything there was stuff that people had all seen before. So it's interesting, I think, to see like what is still the most popular, right? And it's definitely was like NIO and definitely Zeekr as well. But there was no Xiaomi there, obviously no Tesla there. A lot of people were missing, but still pretty packed show. And it's actually still going on right now. It's from the 1st to the 9th. So a long show as well. Probably NIO selling a lot of cars there, I'd hope.
But who didn't check out the Eric's video? He did try some of the exciting experience on the function
Function
power.
yeah.
That is not EV, right? That's a DMI,
Yeah,
right?
PHEV, I think. Yeah,
PHEV one.
Yeah. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah, go and check it out. All right. Hey, someone is wondering how come Eric sold
my car?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, you might remember there was like a pandemic going on, and I was kind of tired of being stuck in China, so I didn't know how long it was going to be. Kind of the country would be closed, you know. So I sold it and left. I didn't want to keep paying the battery as a service fee and parking fees and things like that. So I sold the car, and I don't really need a car. It was just kind of for fun. So
it's a good long fun though. How many kilometers you drove?
I drove like 35,000.
35,000 for such a short period of time too. It's not like a
maybe a year and a half. I drove around China in a big circle and then across China back and forth one time. And now it's cool too. Now that I did that, now I can ask NIO for a car, you know, and they give me an ET5T or like I said, I was talking to them a couple of days ago. We had a little meeting talking about a future project we might work on. But we'll see about that. And you, Ting, have you got any more inside information about driving a NIO to Thailand or?
Nah, they're all quiet.
They're quiet. All right.
Yeah, there's some limitation on the charging standards and stuff. So I did propose a solution. If they take that, then for sure we can get the car across, because there are some Chinese influencer drove the Li Auto and some other cars with the Chinese standard charger. You know, the charging port are different, right? So
but at least the Li Auto you can add gas, right? So
you can stop by the gas station and fill it up. But pure EV, I haven't seen one yet, and NIO would be the first one in that case.
Maybe we got to propose to that to NIO again in the near future.
Let's try. But I think one of the things that we've been hearing it a lot for the past week is the capability of the autonomous from NIO, right? I read throughout some of the posts and news, and I believe Mr.P has tried the new NOP Plus. So maybe you might share some light.
Give us a report, Mr.P.
Yeah, what's your report?
All right. So overall, it was very impressive, in my opinion, because like the sensing capability is just tremendous. It's able to see extremely far. It's able to see all the lines on the road. The traffic light, it's able to recognize all of them. And it's just, it can see like 300-400 meters in front, which is quite amazing. And then when it comes to the actual driving, I noticed that it will actively do evasive maneuvers, even like small maneuvers, to sort of, you know, keep some distance away from like nearby cars that are getting too close. Or it can see cars coming even from way back that might want to, you know, perhaps overtake you. So it would also sometimes make space for that and allow them to pass through. And there weren't any like really hard brakes, which I kind of liked. And for me, when I tested it, I chose one of the crappiest roads here in Beijing. Like, it was so damn crappy. Like, you had tricycles, pedestrians, all sorts of random stuff everywhere. And that's how I tested it. And it was just it was a terrible road, but it performed fairly well on that road. And one thing I noticed is that if there were lines on the road, the NOP Plus would be perfectly fine. Okay, it can basically drive everywhere if there were lines. The problem is when there aren't lines. Okay, and when there aren't any lines, first of all, the car tries to stay in the middle of the lane, and that's obviously not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stay to the right. So there was one bit where I was making a right turn, there weren't any lines, and then the car stuck to the left of the lane, and there was incoming traffic as well. So I'm sure that driver's like, what the hell's going on with this guy? Is he like drunk or something? So and then I had to correct it, make sure that we're sticking on the right side of the lane. And overall, it was pretty interesting. I was very, very impressed with sometimes they're doing evasive maneuvers, even when there's like traffic and construction way ahead, like maybe like 150 meters ahead. The car sees it and it knows that, oh, I got to turn right now. Otherwise, if I go forward, there's going to be solid lines and I might be breaking the law. So it turns preemptively before I could even see it because it was like 150 meters out. But one thing is the NOP Plus will never break traffic laws. So if I was in a situation where I was in that lane, for example, if it was the forward lane and then there was like a traffic accident there and I would be forced to drive on through a solid line, NIO Pilot would not do it. NOP would just simply not do it. Okay? It obeys the laws. So I think that's pretty nice, but I think there should be a toggle somewhere that allows you to, like, I take full responsibility of of the law. If I break it, that's fine. Just navigate. So I guess that's one of the limitations. Also, it doesn't work on roundabouts. So every time you approach a roundabout on NOP, it just tells you that there's 200 meters until NOP has to end. So it tells you that. Yeah. So that's just what it is. But I think the good news is, there's another good news, is the fact that it's getting government recognition, and NIO is amongst the only new energy vehicle company that got approved for L3 and L4 testing. The likes of Huawei, Ito, Li Auto, Xpeng, these guys did not get approved for the L3, L4 testing. NIO is the only new energy vehicle company. So that's kind of amazing. It shows that NIO is actually quite ahead in terms of tech. Yeah.
I saw Ikapo here said that he did post some of the NOP Plus. That is a city NOP Plus, right? Like not the highway one, right? Nearly rare end in a truck. Man. Hopefully everything's okay, Ikapo. Man.
So those are both old cities, though, right? Beijing and Xi'an. Maybe the roads aren't so clearly defined. Maybe got to try it down here in Shenzhen, where everything's modern and up to date. Might be better.
Talking about the lane lines, if the car would behave erratically, right, it would try to, like, for when I try, right, the NOP Plus on the highway. If you did try to turn that on the city road and it doesn't have any lines, it would try to see if there's a car in front. Then it would try to follow, like track if the front one does the nasty thing, it would do the same thing too. It would just kind of trail the up ahead. But if there's no car up front, no lines, it would just doesn't know what to do, and then it will ask you to just take a control immediately, like sort of like a slow down, and then like, man, take the wheel, man. And the one that behave quite smartly is the Avatar one, the Huawei system. That one, it can actually like ride on its own pretty much almost in most of the roads, and I'm sure practically it can work in most of the road, but on the feature in the car, they will allow user to use only some of the roads, but technically it could actually run in most of the roads.
Is right now Huawei more advanced than Xpeng, TiNG?
I did try both. I think they are about equivalent, depending on the situation. If there are a lot of unknowns, Huawei actually does the better job make a decision on what to do. But if you talk about the near human driving experience, like try to drive like human, I think Xpeng did a pretty good job. You know,
I remember when I
yeah.
drove the Xpeng guided pilot or whatever, like 2 or 3 years ago, tried to drive me into a wall, but I'm sure it's better now.
Yeah. I mean, when I did try the XNGP in the city, right, and the left turn, no line, it can actually handle that left turn, no line, and it does know that the bike is coming. It kind of like it tried to go first, you know, like some of the polite system, it would just stop, let whoever about to pass until like no one left, and then it just go. But this one, it keep advancing, it keep moving, just to let the people who come across that this is still my lane, it's still my time to turn, so you need to let me go first. The same thing goes for when you're about to switch the lane and then you're on traffic and it sees that the left lane is actually faster, it will just try to, you know, squeeze into the left lane, knowing that there's still some car driving, you know, like with a higher speed than yours, is still trying to, you know, squeeze in. So that is like closer to, I think it's closer to what human would do, no? Because in China, if you wait, you go nowhere, right? You need to, so like, hey, give me a bit, man, you know?
Got to make a move. So Ting, when you go back to Beijing, you're gonna make some videos of NOP Plus for us?
Oh yeah, I will definitely. I will try that the battery swap with the NOP Plus. If it already open for the feature where you can park the car, you line up on the queue, and then it does the swap by itself. It's open already, right? 2.7.0.0.
Not for everybody, but I think that's only for 4th gen swap stations.
Oh, for 4th gen only.
Yeah.
Okay.
But speaking of 4th gen, they did say they're going to start installing the 4th gen stations. I think on the call they said this month or next month. This month, I think they said.
Yeah.
This month. So finally, they're going to start going in. That's exciting to see.
Yeah, I saw some videos of that being installed. And by the way, Tang, for your NOP Plus and your NOP, how long a subscription do you have? When you bought the car, was it 1 year or 2 years? 2 years.
2 years. So it's up until August next year. I took the car.
That's pretty nice.
It's
Yeah,
August
currently
next
right
year.
now it's only 1 year.
Oh, if you buy one, then you get 1 year only.
Yeah.
But I think just the basic LCC, it's fine. In most cases, it helps you. It sort of like a relieve you from the stress, you know, staring at the line on the highway, right, on the tollway and all. But to turn in the city, and somehow you be more stressful currently. So
yeah,
I'm okay to try on the highway where the line is clear and then the condition is good, and then you need to drive like 1,000 kilometers to Shanghai or to somewhere far away, then that's fine. So I could rent or I could subscribe just for that period when I'm travel. I mean, in the future, you know.
But overall, like you wouldn't like just have that subscribed all the time.
Oh, if you give for free, why not? They gave me only 2 years, but if they gave me for free, then I would use it. Why not, right? But I wouldn't. I wouldn't go subscribe myself. No, I wouldn't go subscribe myself without, like, I need to have reason to use it too. Like, even though this month I would drive from Beijing to Xi'an or to somewhere like really far, then I would subscribe for that month.
Nice.
Do they sell like lifetime subscription? Do you know?
No, they don't.
They don't, right?
Yeah, but if you bought NIO Pilot on the 1st gen vehicles, you get 12 years for free if you buy the 2nd gen vehicle.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I bought NIO Pilot, but I don't know if it'll still carry over since I sold my car. I wonder if that would.
It goes with the car. It goes with.
Well, I mean, I sold my car back in 2 years ago.
But stay with the car with you. I mean, that NIO Pilot stay with the car. So whoever bought
stays with the person that with the promo.
It might still be in my NIO account if I bought another car here in China. That'd be all right. 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years is pretty much free. Yeah.
I'll be dead by then anyway.
So if you buy the ET9, Eric, Then you enjoy.
Yeah, well,
it. Yeah.
if the stock hits $6.50 a share, Mr. P, I'll buy the 18.9.
Deal.
Yeah.
60 a share.
I'll buy 18.9s for everybody.
2030, 2035.
2035. Again,
Stay
I'll be
alive,
dead by
guys.
then. I'll be dead.
Then we will do one
No.
episode in the car in his 89. We will do one episode in Eric's 89. You sit in the front, I sit in the back. We do the 360 live stream. Sweet.
That'd be real sweet.
Oh yeah. Let me say hi to Peter.
Peter's back.
Welcome
So
back to the show.
I think also everybody should go check out eCarpo's channel because he's posted those NOP Plus videos, he said as well.
Yep.
So I'm gonna check that out later.
Yeah.
I know last week he said he would do that. So we should definitely go check it out and make sure we support him.
He did agree that he drove out also. It's much better. It actually it make the better decision in some of the cases, but closer to human driving is still expert, I think.
I still personally think autonomous driving is far away, like full real autonomous driving, but
yeah,
it's always next year.
Yeah, the thing is there's lots of decision making, right? The problem is more of the decision making and then what do you do in certain situations, right? If there's a car and there's a pedestrian and crash is imminent, which one do you crash onto?
Well, the person's not going to damage your car as much as the other car will, so you run over the person.
Okay. Fair enough. And also, what you've noticed, this is kind of funny. I talked about this before, but sometimes billboards, they fool autonomous driving. Like
with cameras, right?
Yeah, exactly, with cameras. Like quite famously, there was that one Li Auto that was on the highway, and then it saw a billboard advertising cars, Dongfeng cars, and then the Li Auto car just stopped because it thought it was like traffic jam in front.
And it got hit,
that
right?
caused, and then he got rear-ended, but it was his fault because his car stopped. And also, that was actually before, like almost a month or so ago. But quite recently, there was another one where Li Autopilot was on, and even on like solid lanes, like the lines were not dashed, it somehow just turned like crazy. It was like the driver was rampant or something, but it was apparently the autonomous driving software, and it was just going crazy, and then actually rammed into the one of the water buckets, water barrels, and like crashed the car. And yeah, it was terrible. I didn't really follow up on what happened there, but yeah, quite nasty.
But this autonomous, I think it comes a long way. Yeah? I do remember on the old Tesla, the 2016 Model S with what they so-called autopilot, like self-driving, they call it that time. Now it's like a EAP, FSD and all, right? At that time, I bought that package, so excited that it would drive by itself. Yeah, it kind of does the same as the NOP for NIO, pretty much, right? At that time, if you drive up the slope on the, let's say on the highway, and it's driving up the slope a little bit, and you have the overpass cut across above you, the car will just simply think that it's a train or something up front. And just like when you go like 100 kilometers an hour, and then it up to the point where it sees this overpass, it just immediately like hit the brake, and it's like, man, what the hell? I was like, hey, something is wrong. So we did the feedback to Tesla, like what's going on in this such a case, and then they did explain that now we are still try to model all of the like obstruction, the scenario, and so on. So they might think that is a trend or something. So that overpass is a trend.
And wasn't there recently a story about a Tesla driver that drove into a train or something on his autopilot? I didn't really look into it, but I saw
the trailer or something, right? What was that? The trend. It's a trend. It was a trend. It was like poor visibility or something, because it was using the
it's probably foggy or something. But I guess you solved the problem of the overpass looking like a train, and now they put that in the software, right? To okay, it looks like a train. Don't stop. Keep going.
Yeah, no, but that one, I still got my radar, right? The 250 meter multi-millimeter wavelength radar, so it still can see some object. But with the vision, it's like, man, you need to be relying on image only. And if it's foggy, see a little bit of a, I don't know what's behind that fog, then you are F also. You don't know what's behind the fog. So that's why the guy actually ran through the train and tried to shoot this waiting.
One thing that's cool about a lot of the cars in China now that are, again, that I saw at the Shenzhen Auto Show was they all have the LED, like, panels on the back of the car now. So it'll say like autonomous driving or some sort of notification for people following behind you that they know that it's a robot driving the car. So that's pretty good, I think.
I think the major one was the Li Auto, right? The blue light.
They have a blue light, right?
Yeah.
But most people aren't going to know what a blue light is, right? But there's like the IM car, IM L6 now. It says like auto driving, and then I think Avatar maybe it can. They have. I know they have LED on some of their cars.
Under the windshield, the giant LED.
But nothing on the back.
On the back, they can run the LED animated LED just to show.
I saw a few cars at the show that had the LEDs in the back. It seems like it's becoming more and more common.
I see, but the screen, the LED under the windshield of the Avatar is pretty much useless to me, because the angle is like that steep, right? And
what's that for?
It's just to show that I come to pick up someone. I'm temporarily parking, so you really need to walk to the windshield to see. Okay, it just come to do the temp parking, so I don't need to write ticket or something, But you need to be in that like really close range to be able to see, and in the right angle. Because if you're far away, you can only see barely. Like there's something blinking, but you don't know what actually present on that LED screen. It's too cool, but useful or not, I'm not sure.
Guys, speaking of IM Motors, IM Motors is actually going to build EREVs. What's your opinion on that?
They're going backwards.
Avatar too. Avatar also, they built the EREV, the 07. They got the Shenzhen option, the EREV option. I'm sure a lot of the brand that they couldn't get the numbers up with the EV, they might sort of having a surviving plan, to add that on into their portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. It just shows that when it comes to EV game, customers are still choosing NIO. And, if you look at the Avatar 1.1, the IM LS6, they're all supposed to be like NIO killers. But when it comes to actual sales numbers, they can't really compete. So to survive, they gotta like move to EREVs, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? But it just shows, I guess, the market dominance that NIO has at battery swap. So this is pretty funny in my opinion.
Yeah, and we talked about that on this podcast before, right? If NIO made a mistake not doing EREVs, and we all kind of said we don't think so. I believe that was our conclusion.
But if if NIO did, everybody would be buying a NIO.
Yeah,
they would have better quality cars than Li Auto, and it'd be a no-brainer, But I guess it's still a good move to stick with battery swap. It's definitely fits in line with NIO's vision of a greener future.
Definitely. And with every car kind of, I would guess like so many cars are kind of becoming similar, more and more similar. If they're all also EREVs too, it's just going to further make every car almost the same. So it's good to be different, I think.
Yeah, I do agree. Hey, there's an interesting question here from Chan. Xpeng plan to make EREV? I didn't hear that. Did you guys hear anything?
So I watched an old interview, and that was from like 2019 or something, and they said no. The CEO said no. Yeah.
So among all the three giant startup, Li Auto is the only one that's starting off with EREV, and then added the EV model, in which really tough to penetrate. Right, the Mega is not doing well. I just hope they still continue on with their 5C infrastructure, because even though you say that the Mega doesn't sell that well, but you still got the customer already. You have customer, few thousand cars on the road. So what, you're gonna stop the development of the 5C after promising all the customer that you can drive from the north part of China down to Shanghai to Guangzhou without any, any hassle? Hopefully they get the new other models that can boost up their EV in the future lah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they stop making so many EREVs. We have another question. Ting, you see Happy Man? He said, what do you guys think about the BYD hybrid that has over a range of over 2,000 kilometers? Will that impact DD drivers to buy BYD instead of Onvo L60? So I was at that little press conference thing where it wasn't the official unveiling. They had unveiled it like a week before, right? But I looked at the car a little bit. It seemed nice, especially for the price of $100K. It's like $13,000 US. I don't know. What do you guys think about? Will that impact Onvo?
I think do you think that the Onvo would be targeting the SUV taxi, or more into like a family personal use car rather than a commercial type?
Family personal use rather than commercial.
I think so too. So I mean, it's clearly like the BYD, the 2,000 kilometer DM technology. I think it's a sedan, right? It's like a taxi sedan type. So it's by the segment is completely different already. And knowing BYD, if the price doesn't touch above 100K RMB, there's some compromise. Either the material they choose, something you see something. If you sit inside, you start to use it, you understand that the price reflect on the things that they choose.
Yeah, but if you're just using it as like a fleet vehicle, like a taxi, just using it, run into the wheels fall off. Yeah,
then doesn't matter.
It's probably a good purchase, but who cares if it falls apart on the inside, right?
Yeah, but my point is like the guy who about to drive TT as a taxi, they might not think of buying Onvo from the beginning anyway.
Right. It's a different segment, different target market.
Yeah.
I still think that NIO or Onvo should make a dedicated kind of platform or a slightly modified car for taxis or for fleet vehicles, right? Like the D1 from BYD. You guys know that car with a sliding door and all that stuff?
Yeah. Like the van type, the larger size EV taxi.
Yeah, good for you can put a lot of luggage in there, easy in and out. It's safe. You don't have to open the door. It's like the door slides open. Like, why not make a similar car like that you can sell to, I always say sell taxis to like Hefei, a city that still has a lot of gas taxis on the road.
Then they can do a B2B, the fleet customers and all.
Yeah,
that could expand a lot.
Maybe in the future.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. On this fourth generation, you need to be in the car, but the third gen you can do the highway. The highway auto power swap route, right? You can navigate it, and then when up to the point, it will just drive and then swap itself. But you still need to be in the car, though, right? Okay. We are at 50 minutes, so maybe let's just pick up the questions.
Yeah, we got a few more. Mateen.
Let's go with that question.
Which one?
Mateen
30K
says
to break even.
Oh, Mateen. All right, the last one. Yeah. To break even.
So I'll cover this question very quickly. Yes, they did say in the earnings call that the new brand needs to deliver 30,000 vehicles per month, which they're very close at, but also with 20% margins. Right now, their vehicle margins is at like less than 10%. So 20% margins. So they need to make optimizations or increase the price or find a way to, maybe boost profit on the margins. And then they'll be able to break even on the NIO brand. And then 30K So for that Onvo, they said that it's 20K to 30K deliveries per month, and it will be break even for that, which, to be honest, I think it's very achievable. Okay, 20,000 to 30,000 for Onvo, and they didn't really talk about what the margins for the Onvo car is, but he did say that they have a very healthy margin with the pre-sale price, and then if they launch the car at the pre-sale price, they're going to be earning money from every car sold. So 20,000 deliveries to 30,000 deliveries. So add that together, NIO's actually pretty close to profitability if you think about it that way. All right. So yes, it does look daunting, but overall, NIO brand is already almost at 30,000 deliveries. They just gotta, pump a little bit more, change their margins, and then Onvo is its separate thing, and then that's also going to be very profitable if they're able to get over 20,000 deliveries per month. So yeah.
All right, next question.
I saw a question related to BAAS. Chance for BAAS policy, example 25 kilowatt hour. The price reduced 70K RMB, but how much lower than NIO sells the battery to the battery management company?
It's the same price. It's just the period is prolonged. So they talked about this. Even with the reduced payments, it's just because they prolonged the investment duration. So it's the same amount. It's 70,000 for that battery.
I see.
Yeah. So
Basically,
NIO still gets 70,000 RMB even if you choose BAAS. But it's not from the customer, it's from the battery asset management company.
Okay.
Which NIO owns 20% of.
Yeah.
All right, next question is from myself, apparently.
Eric, you did write this?
I did not, but we can pretend. So I ask, when will China standardize battery swap? Any announcement? Is NIO already the standard? What do you think, Mr. P?
Well, they are working on standardizing with all these other companies, all these other energy companies as well. And so far, they're giving these energy companies and automakers the Onvo battery pack to be essentially sort of like the pseudo standard. So it's not standardized, but right now, so far, NIO is the standard. Okay, but it's not like the government says if you want to go for battery swap, you have to choose NIO. Of course, you can build your own swap stations, but that's going to be very costly.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Mr. P is saying. Like NIO is basically the de facto standard, even if the government isn't specifically saying they're the standard, simply because of the infrastructure they've built out and what they're still going to continue to build, plus all the deals they've signed, agreements with other companies.
Agreed. Again, I touch back on the swap station belongs to IM, right? The F7. No, not IM. Rising Auto. Sorry, Feifan. Yeah. Zero usage for the half day. Like I've been waiting at that station half day just to see one car to come and swap. Nada, zero. So that's the
and they were actually a company that I always see at the auto shows, right? I've seen it Guangzhou Auto Show last year in October. I've seen it at other auto shows, but this year in Shenzhen they were not there. So are they gone, Mr. P or Ting? Are they dead or are they?
Which one? The JC?
Feifan.
Rising Auto.
They're still
they
there.
Did a lot of job cuts, and a lot of teams disbanded. It seems like it's just a corpse that's still there.
So they're still shuffling along, but barely.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Their car is nice though, but it's just like a wrong time. Maybe too many competitors.
And there wasn't anything very special about it. I mean, it was.
It looks like the R7. It just looked like a Model Y, right? It doesn't look much different. And the F7, it's just like a Model 3. So it's like a two main model try to compete with the Y and 3. Just at the wrong time, I think. What
So
about the
Peter,
first? Yep.
Peter asked, any idea when the first Firefly model is scheduled to be released? I believe they did say first half of next year. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
So we'll have Onvo launch in September, and then we'll probably hear the second model from Onvo early next year, and we'll also have Firefly next year.
And also the battery, who will supply them with the battery? You know whether it's a BYD or CATL.
Don't know that fact.
But
They
then
didn't talk about it.
Firefly will be cheaper than Onvo, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And more mainstream. So that the commercial one would be maybe part of their business portfolio too, no? Possibly.
But actually, what's very, very interesting is the CEO willingly said that Firefly will be more boutique cars, sort of like the BMW Mini. And it's actually going to be apparently sold alongside NIOs at NIO stores.
Oh,
Interesting, right? Very interesting.
so it could be pricey then if they try to put it to be as the
No,
ability.
he said it's in the 100,000 RMB range.
100,000, yeah. It's a very small car, compact car.
Okay. Compact car.
Yeah.
Okay.
And boutique. Yeah, they did say boutique a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that aspect, I mean, like that means it's not really going to cost them a lot of money to, show these cars. They don't have to build new stores and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty good strategy in my opinion.
Since it's a tiny car, and NIO
Yeah.
house and the NIO space got plenty of room. Good thinking, man. That's good. They can even put on the Onvo showcase too. Why NIO? Put on both. Same can swap battery too, right? Boutique, tiny, but still can swap battery. So
Yep.
you can even be present on both. By the way, Jenny Lim got the comments on the margin, 15% margin for 20 to 30K for profitability.
For Onvo.
For Onvo, not NIO.
Yeah.
Okay, for Onvo. All right. I don't have any further question up the latest one.
eCarpo is asking a question or explaining the BAAS.
Explaining, yeah. 5 years you can buy the 47K RMB. Okay. If you on BAAS and then you wanted to buy after 5 years, you can buy with a cheaper price. But then during that time, you already spend the BAAS fee close enough to the cost of the battery. If you know you want to buy, you buy it now. Like buy it like the sooner than rent for already 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Because the break point is like 6 year, right? 6 years something. If you multiply that the rental fee and the cost of battery, I think around 6 years. 6 years. Yeah.
6-7 years, yeah.
Yeah. You were saying?
But the other thing is you also get car repurchase vouchers. So like every month you pay, you get 100 RMB off of your next NIO purchase. So after 5 years, that's about like 5,000 RMB off your future NIO. So that's pretty nice.
I see. Peter would want to know why there was no why isn't NIO's autonomous driving ever compared to Tesla's AD? You mean in China? If in China I can compare because I use both and NIO is much better. So hear from me. I'm the user of both. But if you compare to the Tesla in the US with FSD, then in the US side maybe they're doing a better job. Like Tesla in China is like I don't know what they're doing in terms of autonomous. It's like they charge people 32K RMB for EAP, 64K RMB for FSD, and the 64K FSD you can only use like EAP now, right? Because FSD there was no FSD in China, so it's like they pay for already like 5-6 years since the Model 3 is launched over there. This FSD EAP thing, 5 years, 6 years, they can't use nothing. Like, so if you to compare Tesla in China and the rest, not even NIO, right? The rest of the autonomous system that the Chinese brand use, the Chinese brand actually far ahead.
And also, like, NIO doesn't have NOP in America, so it's kind of hard to compare with FSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm not
last question, MK.
Oh, sorry. MK.
Okay,
Ikabo
the
was
last question.
the voucher. MK was asking, what do you guys think about the strategy when Europe will raise the import tariffs? Wow, they're
Did
raising.
they?
They're about to,
I was
right?
gonna say, did they announce? What do you mean? What do we think about the strategy? Did NIO announce a new strategy, or are you saying what their strategy should be? Is that the question?
I think what they would do, yeah, what the strategy should be.
Like if the import tariff increase, then what they would do?
I mean, they're already only barely selling a handful of cars every month, so I don't think I can answer the question of what the strategy should be, because whatever they're doing right now is not what we're working already.
But European market is hard to penetrate too. You know that Great Wall Motor, they closed down the Europe entity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a tough market to get into. As a Chinese brand, it's also difficult. So,
So Eric, I have this question for you. Since you subscribe to ET7 Europe, if the price for purchasing a NIO was much more expensive in Europe, like let's say like 20% or 30% more expensive because of these tariffs, would you be more inclined to do long-term subscription for the car, or would you still want to maybe buy the car and then,
I mean, like, I personally think NIO's strategy when they first launched was almost perfect, but the only problem was they didn't give the option to also purchase the car. They only did subscription, right? And it confused a lot of people. But like for me, I think when I remember they said flexibility is the new premium. That was like their tagline at that show. And I agree with that. Like, if you ask me, would I rather buy a car or subscribe to a car? 1,000% of the time, I would say subscribe to a car, because like, I don't have a commute to work. Like, I don't need a car all the time. I like to travel a lot. Like, I would totally subscribe to a car any chance I could. Like, next time I go to Europe, I'll probably subscribe to a NIO again. If I wanted a car in China, I would, and NIO or somebody else wouldn't provide me a car, I would subscribe to a car. Why buy it? If I don't need it as like a tool, like a toy for me to use, I will subscribe to a car every time. And I can I can switch my cars. I can go from an ET5T to a ES8, like month to month. I mean, I think their messaging was very poor when they launched, and I think they should have had the option to sell, or to buy. But I think subscription is, if they can get good messaging out there, then that's the way to do it. That should be their strategy, and better prices. So tariffs not going to help them.
Yeah. So to go off of what you said, you basically, I think subscription will probably take off. More people will be subscribing to cars instead of buying the cars if the tariff really hurt prices, make the cars even more expensive. So I think that's a right thing for NIO to have subscription over there as well as an option, which is very good. Subscription first. If you really want to buy it, then you can buy it as well. So I think it's just going to shift the customers to subscription more than buying.
Does this tariff affect only the car that will be classified as product to be sold, or if the car is imported as a company asset to be rent or lease or subscribe, would that be impacting both, or just the car that to be sold? You get my questions? Like, sometimes when you declare as asset and then you get it in, but
I'm not sure. Did Europe already implement new tariffs? I know USA did, right? But I didn't even see if Europe has recently done that.
I only heard they're about to, but announced or not. There was some investigation ongoing for the past few months, right?
I know, like, Mercedes and I think Volkswagen, like, their CEOs or presidents said they didn't want tariffs on Chinese vehicles. But I didn't see if there was any actual final update on if they're actually implementing tariffs or not.
Did they get the iX3 from China too? The BMW iX3 is manufactured in China, right? And some EQB, EQA, Mercedes also manufactured in China. They only keep their flagship one from in Germany, I think. Same like Tesla Model S and X is only in the US. So yeah, they wouldn't like that the tariff because it's gonna affecting them when they're importing. Yeah,
and it'll probably also affect their business in China as well.
Definitely. Yep. Okay. Chan got few more questions related to Q2 delivery. Guidance is too conservative. What about the momentum in June?
Well, I think let's wait to see Tuesday, right, when they announce the first week of registrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it is.
It should
Hopefully
be pretty
they
high.
can keep above 6,000. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Mike Lee is asking, good day to you too, Mike. Level of autonomous driving is NIO's NOP plus. Actually, the NAD is a system, right? And the NOP plus is 2 plus, right? Yeah.
Yep.
2 plus. Though hardware and feasibility is like I would say 3-ish, but you are still required to like be there and touch the steering wheel when required.
All right. That's it, right?
That's a wrap on tonight.
That wrap on tonight. Most welcome, Mike. I did see some of the appreciation to Mr. P up here. Let me pull up one moment. Yeah. Anyway, keep up and keep popping out that NIO videos. Same to you,
Stay
Eric.
safe. Stay
I got
healthy.
nothing. I got nothing.
That's right.
So,
make sure everybody stays safe and stays healthy.
Yeah. And thank you all for joining our podcast, and we'll see you again next week. Let's see what topic we will discuss next week too. All right. Thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah. I'll talk to you guys after. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.